as we journey on the second day, journey home to ourselves, journey home to each other, and also endeavor to connect with the eternal within and without. So I welcome you to Ekaa, the universal oneness. This morning we have a wonderful start for you with a wisdom talk, a talk by someone very special, someone who wears many, many hats. I kept my phone handy to read out all the hats he wears because I couldn't contain them in my mind. So you'll have to help me there. Please join me in welcoming Shri Hara Subramanian, who is with us, and he's going to speak to us on, so please take a seat. He's going to, he is an authority on the subject of the divine feminine, and he speaks of it with deep philosophy. You will find it very intriguing, but what I found even more intriguing was the fact that he is a chartered accountant, he is a IT auditor, so please help me, he is like 10, 20 different things. So many hats he wears, but I think what really calls your spirit is the divine feminine, the subject of Indian philosophy, and we're so happy you're here to speak more on the topic with us because it's what connects us to each other, it's what connects us to you. So with that, I pass it over to you. I'm going to request our beautiful, intimate audience to welcome you once again. Yes! It's a pleasure.
Ram Ram. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shrutismriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padashankaram Lokashankaram Apara Karuna Sintham Jnanadam Shantarupinam Sri Chandrasekhara Gurum Pranamami Mutanvaham. So very good morning. So when she started speaking and giving the introduction, it made me feel like I am Robert Langdon sitting here to talk about the sacred feminine.
More.
And so don't believe any of what she said. I like, he wears multiple hats, this hat, this hat, I mean, there could be tons of hats, tons of colors. But remember, there is only one head inside. That's Ekaa, the power of one. You may see 64 different paintings here, but you see all the faces will just resemble Beena.
Yeah, true, actually.
It's like that. If you have not observed, see now. You see any of these paintings and you look back at Beena and you'll see, oh my God, that's Beena in different forms.
True.
Right? So it's like that. All these different hats that she said about, there are obviously yes different hats, but inside the hat there has to be only one head, and inside that head there has to be some brain to talk about, which I don't have. So I was thinking why Beena called me of all the people to come and speak about this topic. Then I could only think of one principle, the principle that Lao Tzu said in those days. Those who speak don't know, and those who know don't speak. So it goes back to an old Tamil saying. It's a very old Tamil saying, Kandavar Vindilar, Vindavar Kandilar. Those who truly know, who have realized, they don't speak. So I'm sure Beena went around looking for people who are realized souls, and she figured, okay, they are not going to speak. So she reached out to her friend, Bhagi, to see, who else can I approach. And Bhagi runs a restaurant, Basil with a twist. And so Bhagi knows everything about all her recipes, vessels, utensils and all that. So Bhagi would have said, I know the best of vessels, empty vessel which makes more noise. I'll introduce you to somebody. And so she came to me. Okay, that's a brief intro of how we met. Anyway, I think the first part and the most important part in life is to understand what you don't know. The moment you realize that you don't know, automatically you are ready to receive. Right? Because a jug that is full, a cup that is full, can never take anything more. But the moment you realize your cup is empty, you are ready to receive. And what you should receive will start flowing your way. And that is the divine power, which identifies a Sat Patram, which is ready to receive, and starts pouring energy into it. Now I'm going to try my best to speak in English. I've been asked to speak in English, but English is a very funny language. When I go and talk stuff about my business things, finance, and all those things, yes, I can talk in English for a comfortable number of hours. But in this topic of divinity, it's very difficult for a simple reason. English does not always have the best words to define what we have in Sanatana Dharma. What we can communicate using our native mother tongue, it does not always have. For instance, if I may ask you, what we say as papam is sin in English. What is the antonym of sin? The opposite of sin. In my language, it is papam's opposite is punyam. Okay, what is the exact word in English? Blessing is not punyam. Next. Good deed. Good deed is not necessarily punyam. What you get out of good deed is punyam. What else? Well, we can have this conversation for another half an hour and I will not figure a solution because there is no good word to represent punyam in English. You can say virtue, but that's kind of closest cousin. It's not exactly the same. So I'm going to be at a loss of words when I try to speak about divinity in English. So I'm out of my comfort zone. So you'll have to bear with me whenever I stray out of the zone to talk in Tamil, in English, Hindi, Sanskrit, whatever. I may have to do some detour here and there so that I am comfortable in my native. Alright. So I said very clearly, right up front, that I don't know anything. That's the truth. Now, if we all agree that we don't know, then the next step is we have to start learning. And how do you learn? If you want to know about something, let's say, I have Shyamla here with a mush halfway. And I was just telling Beena, it's very intriguing how it is positioned. Shyamala here in this form. Right? It's a very unique depiction. Now, if you need to know why is Shyamala or Matangi, we call her by different names, is like that. Now we have to know. So what is the best way to learn now? I see a lot of youngsters here. The best way to know.
Asking the one who knows the information.
Wow, you seem to be from my generation. Asking the one who seems to know. I would have expected ask ChatGPT. No?
That's what she means.
Oh, that's what she means. There you go. Yeah. Huh? Oh my God. Ask Gemini, ask ChatGPT. No? There are hundreds of questions. Okay, so we keep asking all these different things to the one all-knowing one, which in today's world we think it is ChatGPT. But everything comes at a cost. You ask ChatGPT to write a 100-word email or a letter. Remember that it is drinking 500 ml of water before it gives you an answer. There is so much of water that's just being consumed. Pure, clean water, that's a cost. And we all just like that, keep asking left, right and center. And we say thank you, and the thank you costs another 10 ml of water for it to respond. But so, we want to learn. What do we do more often than not in today's world? I'm not just saying the young generation, even the old. We very quickly take recourse to asking a system, asking a computer. And we think it has got intelligence and we keep asking it. Is that the right way? Maybe, yes, it may appear to be so. But what is the best way? How do you learn? Learning does not come from just reading. So there is a story of a guy who wanted to learn swimming. So he went to Jacob Publishers, bought a book of how to learn swimming in 20 days. Read about it. The book said very clearly, start with a breath control, then understand how, stand in neck deep water, you be there for so much time, then practice front crawl, practice kicks. He did all that and then went to the swimming pool. He had finished the book. Imagine what happened. He drowned. Because you can't learn swimming by reading a book. Why? Because it is a vidya. A vidya has to be properly learnt and not just by reading. Reading cannot give you all the knowledge. So I'm just going all around the place, Beena, because you told me no specific topic, so I'm just going all over to talk about, because it's supposed to be a wisdom talk. If I try to talk about wisdom, it will just become a dumb talk because I don't have anything to give you. I'm talking about what I know. So the best way of learning one of the Upanishads, Taittiriya Upanishad, talks about the best way of learning. It kind of explains to you how it should be learned, how something has to be learned. Bhriguvalli, there is one. See, and everybody can read about this. There are enough translations available. Try to read an Indian translation if you can. Vedas are meant for a certain section. Vedanta is beyond Vedas and supposed to be the peak, the pinnacle. That's available for everybody. Everyone can read. So Upanishads are part of that. And Bhriguvalli in that, it's a very beautiful, nice story, if you can say. There is a young student who goes to a guru. Do you remember the opening verses of Bhriguvalli? Bhrigurvai varunihi Bhagavo brahmeti tasma etat provacha annam pranam chakshushrotram manovachamiti tagumho vacha yatho va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivante yat prayante bhisham vishanti tad vijijñāsasva tad brahmeti satapo tapyata satapastaptva. I'm just consciously saying the first part. This is Vedic chanting for you here in this room. Okay? But this is basically a beautiful story. Bhrigur Vai Varunihi. There is a son of sage Varuna. His name is Bhrigu. Bhrigu is a beautiful young student. The student goes to his guru or the father. Father also turns out to be guru. That's how it used to be in those days. So he goes and asks him, Varunam Pitaram Upasasara Adhihi Bhagavo Brahmeti. What is Brahma? Guru, I want to know what is Brahma. And this man is a learned soul, realized soul. So what he should have done? You should have told him like ChatGPT, my dear son, come sit here, I'll tell you what is Brahma, I'll explain, I'll walk you through. Okay? Make you like this, now I'll make you a realized soul. That's what he should have done ideally. That's what we would expect. But that guru, he did not do that. He chose to do a different, detour. So he says, Adihi Bhagavo Brahmeti Tagumho Vacha Tapasa Brahma Vijijñāsasva. His answer is Tapasa Brahma Vijijñāsasva. Through tapas, through penance, through meditation, through concentration, through that process, go in seek of Brahman and you shall know. And then he gives some hints. It is not enough just to say this. So he gives some hints, some kind of broad definitions. He says, okay, you start somewhere. Yato va imani jayante, yena jatani jivanti. So from where do things get created? How are things born? And how do these things live? And once they die, where do they get into? Just think about these three things. And then you try to answer. Think of all the possible things in your usual circle of life. Annam, pranam, chakshus, shrotram, mano, vachamiti. You know what is annam? Food. Pranan is your breath. Chakshuhu is eye or vision. Shrotram is the power of hearing. Mano, manas. I don't know, how do you define manas?
Inner heart.
You can call it by different names, but very difficult to define. Manas. And vacham, which is vak. That's the power of speech. So he says about all these things. Think about all of it. Analyze every one of these variables. Go back to your drawing room. Sit. Think. Understand, but take one variable, put it in this equation and say which one gives the maximum best possible result. And what is the equation? 3 different equations that will be satisfied. Where are Jivans born out of? How do they live? And where do they go once they die? 3 equations. So he goes back. He first does, he thinks Annam Brahme Divya Janat. He decides Annam is Brahma. Food is Brahma. For a lot of us it is good, no? It is a hypothesis. First hypothesis he frames. Annam Brahma. He decides. And then he starts applying all these variables, tries to solve the equation. Yes, from Annam only is Jivan born. You eat something, out of that, whatever you eat, it gets digested. From there is produced the divine power which procreates something. And out of that is a child born. So Annam something, yes, it is born. And then next, from using Annam only, Jivas can continue to live. Food basically keeps you alive. So second is satisfied. Third one, he says, does everything which is destructed, it goes back to Annam. He tries to say, maybe in some form, When you are burnt to ashes, it goes to the field, and the field again brings up a crop. So it again goes back to all of it. So it solves all the three. And then he thinks, okay, I found the answer. The hypothesis is solved. So it's like a typical mathematical class. LHS equal to RHS, hence proved, and we are done. Whether or not it actually gets solved, we are happy the moment you get this. So this boy runs back to his dad and says, Appa, I found a solution. Okay? But somehow there is still some question somewhere in my mind that's still lagging. Is Annam the answer? I think I solved it, but is that the answer? So he goes back, and then this man, he again does not say an yes or a no. He says, pick up the next variable, go in search of it, and do more tapas. Tapas will give you the answer. Go back and do it. And it's a big process. I mean, cyclically he goes around, and finally at the end of the story, he discovers what truly is Brahman. At the moment he knows that, there is a Samaganam which says, which goes around. It's a very beautiful verse, you should listen, Bhrigovali's end, where he finally declares, Ahamannam, Ahamannado, and he keeps on saying, I am the food, I am the eater, I am the giver, everything. He discovers who truly is Brahman and who he is. So he gets to the point of discovery through a process. It's not a one-day thing. ChatGPT does not give you an answer for that. It cannot. So how do you actually get to learn is not by reading a book, not by getting an answer from a system, but go through experiential learning. Because this subject is such, divinity has to be felt, has to be experienced. 10 hours, 100 hours about divinity. But when will you actually feel divinity is when you really touch that nerve. It could be by accident. It could be by a process. But you should have, the inner urge to seek. Go in search of it. Keep seeking, and you shall discover. Because you make your effort, it will automatically come 2 steps towards you. The moment you take 1 step towards it, it will bring 2 steps closer. That's how it works. So when I read through your book, Beena, I found it very interesting that you wanted to express your feelings and so much more towards femininity. But the very first painting she ended up doing was an Ardhanarishwara. So you decided to give your first, what is the right word that you mentioned? You wanted to pay your obeisance to the masculine inside you, is what you write, correct? It's a beautiful book, by the way. Whatever she has written, it's not a book. For those who have not read it, I would say it's a journey. It's a chronicle, it's a documentation of a journey that she has been through. So get to read it. I call it the book because it's physically a book. So get a copy of the book and read it through, because it's a beautiful journey that she has captured so nicely. So she wanted to do her part for the femininity, for bringing out the beauty of what is there in every female, and ended up drawing Ardhanarishwara. How interesting can it get than this? So I was thinking, when I read through that part, I was thinking, nothing happens by accident. So think about even that day when you came home and my wife was giving you the tambulam and all that. I just happened to notice, the small divine figure that she was giving you had a Saraswati on that. I was thinking, why Saraswati? That day it didn't strike me. And now when I look at it in hindsight, Beena, the word itself is Veena. Veena is what is Beena. And Saraswati is the one who's Veena Vadini, who is the one that holds the Veena. And Saraswati is the one who is responsible for all these arts. It's not by design that my wife picked up one particular thing and gave to her as part of the tambulam. It just happened to come in there, and it is not by accident. We may think as humans it's by accident, but everything has a divine reason, a divine undercurrent that goes, which we probably don't get to notice because we are just normal humans, plain and simple. We don't make the connects that easily. It's not easy to make those connects. Like what you see here, it's a depiction of all the 64, beautifully done, in one frame, you're getting to see. But if you think deeply about it, how is it structured? How many rows and columns? 4 rows, 16 columns. The moment you talk about 16, and especially with Devi, and people who are into Sri Vidya will think about Shodasi. Right? Shodasi is the ultimate form of Sri Vidya. Shodasi is number 16, basically, right? Shodasa is number 16. And 16 is the ultimate form of Sri Vidya, Upasana. And whether you have done it by design, by interest, or just an artist, put it in this frame and said, okay, 4 only will fit here, Beena. I will do it in 4 by 16. Possibly, right? It just comes and sits.
It was 8 when I asked them to push it.
So that it all fits very nicely into this.
No, she designed as 8 and we asked her to design.
Okay.
We did it as 8.
8.
Then it was 16.
It became
When
16.
it came to 16, then I thought that, okay, my design is always like that.
Yeah?
I never design something.
It
When
falls into its
falls,
place.
Then I find a reason for it.
There you go. So you have a reason. You have a beautiful reason. Shodasi comes and sits in front of this automatically to bless you. Mahamaya, who sits at the front, at the center of it all. Saundara Lahari Adi Acharya says, Mahamaya Vishwam Brahmayasi Parabrahma Mahishi. Mahamaya Vishwam Brahmayasi. So the entire universe keeps spinning. We know that it is spinning, but we are sitting here, it is not spinning, but we realize it is spinning. How do we agree, how do we accept that it is actually spinning? Oh, because science told so. Correct? Otherwise we will not accept, no? Science told us so. Yes, the earth is rotating at X number of rotations per second, every millisecond. Truth be told, before all this science came into being, in this very same country, in our world of Sanatana Dharma, they had exactly calculated how many rotations it is taking per millisecond. It has been captured clearly, and that is how Acharya also writes in his beautiful poetry in Saundara Lahari, Mahamaya Vishwam Brahmayasi. She keeps this world going around. She rotates this, spins it around is the right word. It's not just rotate, she spins it around. Well, the way she spins it, that's how she spun you into drawing Ardhanarishwara first, so that I can talk about it today. Ardhanarishwara is my kind of favorite topic. Why Ardhanarishwara? We call him Ardhanarishwara. Fine. Have any of you heard about a Swami called Thayumanava Swami? Thayumanava Swami. In Trichy, there is a beautiful temple, Thayumanava Swami, where we say the Ishvara also had become mother. Thai is mother, Ma. Okay, so the Ishvara there is celebrated as the Swami who also turned out to be a mother. Okay, so we speak about Thayumanava Swami. We also speak about Ardhanarishwara. Have any of you heard of something called Tandayumana Swami? There is no such deity that exists. Like the other version of, Ishvara turning mother. Have you heard of Ambal becoming father? There is no such deity that you will get to know of. Similarly, Ardhanarishwara, have you heard of a deity called Ardhanaran? Ardhanaran kettundo evade? Kettilla. There is no Ardhanaran. We don't hear of Ardhanaran. Ardhanari we know. Ardhanari is basically, Ardha is half, Nari is lady. So we say he is a half lady. Okay, why so much significance for Ardhanari and no Ardhanaran? What do you think? Thoughts? Let's have a two-way communication, otherwise you will all sleep. Why Ardhanari and not Ardhanaran? Any answer is a good answer.
I, in fact, my travel realized that it is Ardhanari.
Oh, so don't answer now. So you'll have the answer. You'll hold the cards.
Maybe because Amba doesn't want to take any other form than the mother.
That's an interesting interpretation. Okay. Anybody else? One of my thinking hats I will give on loan. Use a. Okay. So think about it this way. What is usual and common is not so much spoken about. What is unusual is always called out, whether to celebrate or to pull them down, whatever. What is unusual is called out, right? So like the depiction of Matangi or Shyamala, we call it out because it is special, it is uncommon. I wanted to discuss with her why it is so. In the same way, if you apply that logic, common sense logic to this, why do you think of Ardhanarishwara, Ardhanari and not Ardhanaran, is because it is very uncommon display to see a father also playing a mother. But a mother always also is a father. Now it gets confusing. A mother naturally inside is always a father come mother. She is a whole package. So it is common. You don't call it out and say Ardha Naran. She is always that way. She is a wholesome package. Whereas a man, to display that sense of feminine inside, to come out and display it, is unusual, is uncommon. That is why that becomes part of celebrated topic, Ardhanari. And people keep talking about, Ardhanari is so much in topic, in discussion, because Shiva gave half of his body to Devi. Truth be told, there is no such thing to be given or taken. It is one whole, one cosmic whole. There is no divisions there. We draw those lines, we bring out the beauty of the male and female fused into one being together for us to realize. Okay, so you can say the advocates for liberating women have been there from olden days. I know you will not trust me when I say this, but the feminists and coming out in support of women liberation and supporting women by all means, etc., has been there for decades, for ages. One such man wrote about this. He's called his name Nilakanta Dikshita. In one of his beautiful poetic works, Ananda Sagara Stavam. It's like Soundarlahari, it's another beautiful poetry. So he writes about it. He makes a big case for Devi in that book. In one particular shloka, he writes about it. He says, Amma, this is very unfair. The world is completely unfair. I want to make a case about it. And he says, why? Because everybody goes and celebrates Ishvara for having done the Manmatha Dahana. Ishvara basically destroys Manmathan. How does he destroy Manmathan? Anybody? How does Ishvara destroy or kill Manmatha? Manmatha turns to ashes. How? Third eye. Beautiful. So Ishvara deploys his most potent weapon, the third eye, and third eye produces that fire with which Manmatha gets to ashes. So Nilakanta Dikshita talks about it in that shloka and says, this is completely unfair. The whole world keeps saying that Ishvara is the one who killed Manmatha. Why? See, remember, out of Ishvara, exact half is you as Ardhanari. So that I also, half of that I belongs to you. How can everybody give the credit 100% to Ishvara? He cannot be called as the guy who actually killed Manmatha. Half of the credit belongs to you. The world is unfair, ma. I am going to raise a case. And he doesn't stop there. He says, no, not stopping here. There is one more problem I see in how people celebrate Ishvara. Yeah, I can at least put up with this half eye problem. But look at how Ishvara saved Markandeya by actually, there's another anecdote, a story, where Ishvara actually kicks Yama, who comes to take the life of Markandeya. Ishvara kicks Yama and he gets saved. Okay, it's a different story. Now he quotes this incident and says, in that incident again, everybody says this person, Ishvara, is the one who actually kicked out Kala. But how did Ishvara kick? He used his left leg. The left leg actually belongs completely to you in the Ardhanari Swarupa. How can he take any credit out of it? Is how he says. It's a complaint. He files it as a complaint. So people who advocated for women's rights and liberation had been there from those days. Right? So, getting back to the story, why Ardhanari is so important? Because it brings out the uncommon feature of a male showing the feminine that is inside. It's very difficult to follow, very difficult to find out, but it's one of those rare moments when it comes out and where you get to realize there is no division. It's actually one unified whole, one cosmic energy that manifests itself as two different yin and yang in their Chinese philosophy. Ekam sat vipraha bahuda vadanti. There is only one true thing. And the knowing or the knowledgeable ones call it by different names. including different religions. You call them as Christ, and Prophet Muhammad, and everybody's. All these names, it all just is one. As you have rightly titled Ekaa, there is just that one. So then when you think about women and the power of women, how much more time I have?
On the day.
Huh?
All the day.
All the day. I'm sure they will object to it. They find it already boring. Right? So you've been taught well to say no. Okay. So when you talk about women, okay, getting back to the power of feminine. So generally, it is said, behind every successful man is a woman. And that's what you see in Ardhanari. You call him as a successful man, it behind can be said as behind him or in him. Behind as synonyms, the true meaning can also be in. So behind every successful man, there is a woman. This is a beautiful saying. And I had a friend of mine who gave it a twist, like Bhagi's basil with a twist. He gave it a twist. He said, behind every successful man is a woman, telling him that he is wrong. How many of you agree? Agree or disagree? I can talk about it very openly and with a lot of strength because my wife is not here today. Yeah? So, I said, yes, it is probably right. It's probably right. And for the good reasons. Because the moment you become a celebrity and everybody keeps saying, wow, you are like awesome, you are like top of the world, there's nobody better than you, etc. Different illusions. And you are going to live in a very different world and think so high of yourself that you will actually fall in disgrace. So somebody has to keep you grounded. And divinity actually demands that you should always be grounded. And who brings you to the ground? That woman. If you say that she is behind you telling you that you are wrong, is not just to say that you are wrong, but probably identifying those small nitty-gritties that need to be fixed. She helps you become better. So people generally confuse women with wrong. Both start with W. And they say, okay, both are the same. Women is equal to wrong. But I look at it differently. And this again, out of my real experience in life, and this again I can say with so much of confidence since my wife is not in the room. Women is not just equal to wrong, women is equal to wisdom. That's what she stands for. For me, she is the source of wisdom. I look at that same aspect of wisdom with my mother. I go back to her, for anything that I have a doubt. The source of wisdom. Because even in Sanatana Dharma, in Manu Dharma, there are various things that it keeps saying. Now, Manu Dharma has become a banned topic for everybody. Unfortunately, people don't even understand what it really means. But there are different, ways of life, ways of conducting yourself is all mentioned there. And then it says, for a few things, it says, follow this, this and this. But if by the time you read all this have become inapplicable to you and you don't know what else to do, you are in a fix. What you should do, what should become your dharma, go and ask the eldest lady in the city or the village where you are living in. What she says becomes your dharma. Because the women acquire so much of wisdom and she is the treasure house of wisdom. She is the one who brings out the truth. She is the one who can lead you in the right path. So women is equal to wrong, is wrong. Women is equal to wisdom, is the truth, is the right way to look at it. It comes through by experience. Now what is the height of womanhood? Why women are celebrated so much? Because women can do things that men cannot do. Simply put. And what is that thing that women can do which men cannot do?
Give birth. Give birth.
Give birth. Fantastic. And in today's world, unfortunately, a lot of us don't even get to think about it. What does it mean to be a mother? The sacred scriptures, the number one script of it, Lalita Sahasranama, starts with the first name. The first nama is Shri Mata. Shri Mata. And that actually should be the start and end of Lalita Sahasranama. Done. With that one nama, you are done. Because that one thing is so potent, so powerful, nothing else needs to be said. The power of motherhood, the power of creation. Because today's world, we do not get kids to realize the power of motherhood. It actually has become a pain. It's being seen as a pain, as a process. Okay, I will decide when I have to go through it, I will decide whether at all I need that pain, etc. But it's an experience that has to be felt. And being a mother is something that only women can do. Nobody else can turn out to be a mother. And the mother is one who actually gives up literally everything in life for the kid. And why that becomes important? Any idea?
Because the connection she shares with the child.
Okay, very good. Then? Sustainability.
Future.
Now you have gone back to your PwC days. Sustainability and future. Okay? Or anybody else?
Because the child is come to her blood and shed.
Absolutely, yeah. Yes, that's right. Anything more? So for a mother, she gets to see herself in the child, whether it is a boy or a girl, doesn't matter. Whether it is that child is a brainy, courageous, beautiful young boy, or a child which has got dyslexia, which cannot walk, which can only crawl, none of it matters to that mother. For the mother, that's the child. She sees herself in the child and she is willing to give everything of her to that child, to bringing the child up. So, what does that indicate to you? It's not that she wants anything for herself. She is ready to give up everything. She is the epitome of sacrifice. And that's the beauty of motherhood. Why sacrifice is so important? Because that is what our dharma actually holds out as the ultimate state for anybody to think of. So there is a sannyasa suktam which we narrate when you receive saints. You give them purna kumbha as a mark of respect. When you give the purna kumbha to the sannyasis, you narrate certain shlokas. And one of those happened to be in the sannyasa sukta. Na karmana na prajaya dhane na tyage naike amrtatva manashuhu. And it goes. What is the meaning? Na karmana. Na karma first. Okay, na karma, which is not by doing your karma. It doesn't happen. What doesn't happen comes later. Na karma. Na karmana na prajaya. Not by getting children. Na prajaya. Dhanena. Not by acquiring wealth. Dhanena. Tyage naike. Tyagam. Tyaj is the dhatu. Tyaj. Tyagam means sacrifice. Tyage naike amrtatva manashuhu. You get to the state of immortality only through sacrifice. And it is said at that particular point of receiving sannyasis because they are the ones who have sacrificed everything in their life to get to the state of moksha. So sannyasi has to literally give up everything. No bondings, no attachments, nothing. And apply that for a woman. Do you think the woman sacrifices everything in life? You should seriously ponder this question because we don't get to realize it in our daily lives. So she literally gives up everything. So you grow up for 15 years, 20 years in some family. You give up that whole family when you go to another family. And this happens only in this country's, this Sanatana Dharma. You practice this thing. You give up your whole family which brought you up. You go to another family. You take it as your own. So imagine the level of change management, transformation, transition, the acceptance that they need to have. It's not a child anymore. Now you've become like an adult. You have your own preferences and you have to let go of everything and then you go into another family and you accept that as your own. No change management organizations or consultancies can actually come and make it successful. So I'm wearing my CFO hat for a moment and saying 80% of change management projects actually fail. This is a McKinsey report. 80%. And every girl's life goes through the change management. And this country, by this culture, makes every change management almost successful. Right? Are you going to like everything that you see in your new house? Probably not. But you make it work. That's the only intent with which you step into that family. You say, okay, maybe there are a few things which I'll have to bear, I'll have to digest. Okay, yeah, but I'll make it work. Right? So that way, what do you go through? It's a journey of sacrifice. That is why women and feminism basically is to be worshipped. And this country teaches you that. This dharma, Sanatana dharma, teaches you to worship women. Look at everything as a form of feminine, as a form of Shakti. Bharatiyar sings, Ingu nokkinum Shakti ada. Everywhere around you, when I see, it's all a form of Shakti. And Shakti is the one who propels. Shakti you can call as energy. Shakti is also Amba. Shakti is the one which propels you to act. So think about Shakti, then go back to Devi Sahasranama. Because you are running your 64 Yoginis exhibition. Lalita Sahasranama has this beautiful verse. Yogini Yogada Yogya Yogananda Yugandhara. A beautiful verse. So what does that mean? Apply your sense of whatever you have learned so far to that lines and split up each nama. Yogini is basically somebody who has attained yoga. Let's keep it that way. I am going by multiple. See, yoga has got multiple different connotations, different synonyms. By the way, Beena, beautifully written by Vivek Devroy in his preface when he says yoga has got this, different connotations. So yoga, what does yoga mean? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yogaha karmasu kausalam. Excellence in action is yoga. So women, this woman now has displayed her excellence in action, excellence in the skill with whatever you are seeing here. And she deserves a big round of applause, at least at this point. So by displaying the 64 yoginis and bringing out their energy, you have become a yogini. You have attained that unison with them. Right? Yoga actually also means that it is a state of attaining layam, becoming one with the only one, let's say, Ekaa, goes back to that. So, yogaha karmasu kausalam is one way. Fine, understood. Now, what is the other thing? In another place, Krishna says, in the same Bhagavad Gita, yogaha samamuchyate, the state of equipoise. Samam. Is it easy to derive? Is it easy to achieve? Especially for a woman? Women should answer. Is it easy to discover and attain? Can you very easily get your mind to a state of calmness and still and be equipoise? It's very difficult. Why no? Because your mind is always filled with next, what next, what next, what next. How will this turn out? Why this thing is spoken? What is the meaning of this other word? That person spoke this. You keep thinking. Because your mind is said to be creative. Your mind is said to be analytical. See, a girl looks at a boy. She does not immediately say, he is going to be my husband. This love at first sight is just a conjunction. It's just being created. It doesn't happen. Your mind actually starts thinking. If you suppress your mind, you give it like a painkiller and suppress your mind and say, oh, this guy looks very beautiful, I'm going to marry him. You are actually like doing yourself an injustice, a disservice. Because a woman's mind has got that intuitive capability to think beyond the normal. And that is why women cannot decide anything that easily. True. Acharya says in one of his texts, Prashna Uttara Ratna Malika, it's a beautiful question and answer mala. Prashna Uttara Ratna Malika. So there are questions and answers. So in that there is one beautiful question. Kim Gahanam. What is difficult to understand? Stri Charitam, the conduct of a woman. And he says so because women by nature are driven by so many different angles, permutations, combinations that they'll keep looking for. It's very difficult when your mind keeps racing in multiple different swim lanes to arrive at a conclusion. But you need somebody like that as your guide, as your charioteer. Somebody who has to be your guide and counsel so that you analyze all those possibilities before you get to a decision. So can that not be a woman? Of course, yes. A woman who has got a little bit of more masculine content in them, probably yes. They will be decisive also. But think of this as a big plus that you people have got. It's not a negative. Being analytical, thinking of all possibilities is not a bad thing at all. It's actually a big boon, which we as men, we can't get to that easily. For example, my son goes to a shop to buy, his shirts. Blue, light blue, dark blue, and blue, another blue. That's all that men are capable of, truly. Right? But women, you go to one sari shop, and to buy that one sari, it could be like you said, the whole day, can be consumed. That's because you have so many different things running in your mind. Possibilities, endless possibilities. Why endless possibilities? Because you are the one, as Devi, Mahamaya Vishwam Brahmayasi. You are the one who keeps it spinning. So sometimes you also have to spin along with it. Right? Parabrahma Mahishi. So as that one, she keeps the whole world spinning. Okay. So get back to the point of yoga. I said yoga, karma sukausalam. And then there is the Patanjali Sutra, which is very important. Yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. What is yoga? Chitta vritti nirodha. Nirodha is to completely stop it, completely kill it. What? To kill what? Chitta vritti. Chittam is the manas, however you nicely define the manas. Vritti is its manifestations. So the moment now you are sitting here and you are at the same time thinking about, okay, what happens in Coolie, the last climax scene could have been done better. Instead of Amir Khan, if Shah Rukh Khan was there, it would have been nice, no? Is probably one way. This can happen to anybody, right? Your mind is capable of manifesting and taking you along in multiple different directions. It can take you like anywhere. It's not in your control. That is what you call as chitta vritti. Chitta vritti nirodha, the ability to control that and put an end to it, stop the mind at its roots, is yoga, says Patanjali. So those who have attained that state of yoga are yogis or yoginis in this case, in a feminine form. Fine. There is the other form when you say, when you have found unison, when you are in layam with the ultimate. That also is a state of being in yoga. So let's say every day when you go into sleep, you are in layam with the ultimate. You don't feel any pain. In the morning you would have had a problem of, okay, today my max paper came, I got only 78, I am very unhappy. But go into the night, peaceful sleep, no problem. Right? You are happy. At least you can't say you are not unhappy. You are not happy, you are not unhappy. Fine, it's a state of equipoise. You get to that every night. That also is yoga. So Nidra is a form of yoga. Which is when Devi Mahatmya we say, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Nidra Rupena Samsthita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaha. Nidra is a form of yoga. So Yogini, the Lalita Sahasranama goes back to that. Yogini is one, fine. Yogada. Yogada is the one who gives you yoga. The one who blesses you with that unison, with that layam. Yogya. Yogya is the one who can be achieved through yoga. Am I, in Tamil we say, எனக்கு இது யோகியமா இருக்கா? Am I eligible to receive? Yogyam. So Yogya here is the one who will be attained through yoga. Yogini, Yogada, Yogya, Yogananda. The Ananda or the bliss or the beautiful happiness that you get out of doing yoga is also her. Yugandhara. Yugam also means a state of duality, something that is in dual, like a men and women, male and female, yin and yang, and all these kinds of duals can be called as yugam. Yugam has got multiple meanings. The one who actually bears yugas, who holds yugas together, is that Shakti. So yugam can also be said as one yuga, Treta yuga, Krita yuga, and all that we say about one full dimension of time. The one who holds those dimensions together. So all this are Shakti. So when you talk about yogi, yogini, these are all beautiful namas that come together in Lalita Sahasranama. And then I will tell you one nice story and then wrap. I know it's already beyond time. The other beautiful nama in Lalita Sahasranama, Maha Chatushashti Koti Yogini Gana Sevita. Okay. So there are different explanations and interpretations for it. Those in the Srividya Upasana will look at it differently. I will try to retain it to a nice story that you can connect to. It's always good to start with the story and end with the story, because only stories will remain fresh in your mind. All other theory will just keep going away. So there was this great Mahan by the name Bhaskara Raya. In Srividya Upasana, he is equivalent to Amba. He is equivalent to Devi. That's the kind of person that we are talking about. So he was living in Kashi. So he is, like I said, a stalwart, a Mahan. So he had practiced Vamachara or Kaula Marga. There are different ways in which you reach Amba, and one of those was Vamachara. So he used to perform different forms of worship, one of which happened to be Mahayagam. He wanted to do a Mahayagam. Mahayaga Kramaradhya Mahabhairava Pujita is another nama for Amba. So by doing Mahayaga, you reach her very easily. Now, is Mahayaga easy to do is a different question. Okay, now Mahayaga, he wanted to do that. Now, all the other scholars in Kashi used to look at Bhaskara Raya and they thought, this man is doing very different things. It's not like, purely Vedic kind of a thing. He's doing things which they could not understand, simply put. So they wanted to actually call him out as somebody who is an outlier, who is probably a fraud, or whatever kind of things. So they decided they will actually go into that Mahayaga, because when he started doing Mahayaga, he invited all the scholars in the area. So they said, we will go there and put him in a spot. Like how Beena put me here in a spot now, sit here and talk about Amba. Put him in a spot. And then call him out. His capability or ability will be out in the open for everybody. We will call him out for who he is truly. They decided to do that. So they went there. Mahayagam was on. So these people went there and they were sitting. So he was doing with the leadership of a saint named Kunkumananda. He was also a great Mahan, a great saint. Kunkumananda was sitting there leading it like Adhyaksham. He is the one who leads it from the front. And he looked at everything and he said, this is beautiful. So he is like completely immersed in that and he is seeing Amba there practically. So they are discussing, okay, everything is going smoothly. And then these scholars walk into the room and they are like, okay, so we have one question for you, Bhaskara Raya. Can you explain us? And they talk about it as if they want to understand, truly yearning to understand types. That's how people come. But the true intent is to actually put him in a spot. So they came to him and asked, see, there is a nama in Kalita Sahasranama which says Maha Chatushashti Koti Yogini Gana Sevita, which actually translates to Chatushashti is 64, which you have. Maha Chatushashti Koti. Koti is crores, as we know. Maha Chatushashti Koti Yogini Gana Sevita. Ganam is a group. So the Nama says there is a Maha 64 crore Yoginis group which is serving Amba. We are not able to understand how many such Yoginis could be there. Can you help us understand? We need to understand who are they. Now for the 64 it's very easy to explain. Very easy as in relative terms. We can say Devi Mahatmya, you go to it, you start with Ashtamatrakas, Brahmi, Maheshwari, Kaumari, Vaishnavi, Varahi, Mahendri, Chamunde, Mahalakshmi. And then each one of them, they are part of the Trailokya Mohana Chakram. And each one of them have got 8, Devis under them. 8 into 8, 64. Done. Okay, we are happy. Easy to say. Now we are talking of 64 crore. And not just 64 crore, we are talking about Maha Chatushashti Koti. I don't know what that means. So they asked that question. As if innocent question. And this gentleman, he, like I said, he himself was verily Amba, and that is the epitome of Srividya Upasana. At the top of Srividya Upasana, the practitioner or the Upasaka and Amba are not different. They are one and the same. And it will be known and visible to the people who understand the truth. Others cannot get to even know. They will look at him as another normal human. That's how his life will be. That's what Srividya Upasana actually says. Those who get to learn it will learn that he is equal to her. There is no distinction. So when the question was asked, he was sitting there Without a blink of an eyelid, batting an eyelid, he said, okay, I will start telling you, please write down. They said, we want to know the namas and how they were born, what are they looking like, what is it that we should offer to them, etc. Everything about each yogini we need to understand. And now Maha Chatushashti Koti Yogini, if you have to understand, Maha can also mean it's a 9 multiplier. That's one of the ways to look at it. 9 into 64. Whatever that means, maybe 576 crores of yoginis you'll have to think about. So he says, without batting an eyelid, okay, I will start telling, please write down. And they start writing down. He starts in a flow. And he just keeps going. Yogini number 1, this is the nama, this is how she looks like, and this is what she likes. This is how you worship her. And he keeps going. And these people start writing. At a point, their hands start paining. And they don't know where to stop. They have asked him, and he keeps, like, there is no stoppage. He's not even, taking a sip of water, he's just going. And Kunkumananda, sitting on the other side, is looking at it. And everybody is like, these people have started shaking up. They're like, how is this guy able to tell all of this? And non-stop he's going. How is he manufacturing, making it up from nowhere? This is what they're thinking. And Kunkumananda sits there and he's watching. And in a moment of tapas, he sees the picture that on the shoulder of Bhaskara Raya, Amba herself is sitting and narrating the names.
Wow.
There is no other way that this man could be answering, could be giving everything with that flow. Maha Chatushashti Koti Yogini. So that is the peak, the height of Upasana. And Shri Vidya is the only one that grants you that, where you become one with the one, the only one. Which is why a lot of us Advaitis, we took to Shri Vidya Sadhana. There's nothing else that comes close. Anything else you can talk about it, but there's nothing else that comes close. So finally, as we always say, when we end something, we do it with in any program, event, function, you always have a Ashirvachana mantra. So I will remind you of one Ashirvachana mantra when typically the Vedic Pandits bless somebody. It's part of that Ashirvachana mantra. Imam Indramidvaha Suputram Subhagam Kuru Kruno. Then the second line goes, Dasha Asyam Putra Nadhehi Patimeka Dashankrithi. And this one line is what I wanted to leave you with. What does that line mean? Dashasyam Putrana Dehi Patim Ekadasham Kridhi. Which actually means, and this truly symbolizes what a woman stands for. So we first tell her, may you get, we call upon Indra and say, Indra, give her, bless her with progeny, let her have multiple kids, and tens. Dashasyam putrana dehi. Then the final word, Patim ekadasham kridhi. Let her husband become the 11th child for her. This typically comes in every Ashirvachana mantra that you hear in any marriages, etc. It just keeps going in that speed that you will not recognize. But what is the meaning truly? The woman is not just his wife. She actually becomes his mother. And this is said about in Abhirami Antadi and many other scriptures. Avale avartamakka annayum aginal agayinal. So Amba becomes mother to Lord Parameshwara. And Kanchi Mahaswami, my Guru, Mahapiriva, he gives a very different dimension. He says, I will not stop with calling her mother. She is actually the grandmother also for Shiva. And he gives a beautiful explanation. How? He says, there is a shloka in Saundar Lahari which says, Trayanam Devanam Triguna Janitanam Tava Shive. He says, Trayanam Devanam Triguna Janitanam Tava Shive. So, the Devas, the 3 great Devas, Mumurtis, are born out of 3 gunas. Like Srishti, Sthiti, Samharam. Those 3 gunas basically. From those gunas are these 3 born. And where did these gunas come from? From the one, which is her. So he says, when gunas were born out of you, out of the guna was born Shiva, you actually become his grandmother also. So you are not just the mother, you are the grandmother. You are everything. That is the power of feminine. That is the power a woman holds. So my call to action for all of you, listen much less to people like me. Realize the power within you, because you are the ones who spin the world. Don't spin stories, spin the world. You are the ones who make the world work with your Shakti. Icha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Swarupini. It's all in you. The power is very much in you. It's latent within you. The moment you discover, you will become a very different her. So with that, with the prayers to Bhagavan to make this a very, very successful event for you, Beena, and the prayers to get the power of Yoginis, get the power of Amba to everybody who comes around, who gets to watch, who gets to see, and practically experience the power of each of your paintings. With that, I will conclude, and my best wishes to you to keep doing more and more of these Yoginis and more of Shiva also. You started with Ardhanari, get back to some part of Shiva also as you go along. With that, thank you so much. May God bless you all. Thank you.
With the mathematical precision you express them with, so deep gratitude. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I will invite Beena to please offer gratitude to you as well and honor you for your tremendous wisdom.
There is so much to say for whatever you have said, because I started with the same thought, saying that I used to think that I am an unpad gawar. Still I think that. I'm very emotional, like, there's too much of emotions when I talk about her. Every painting I had to do that I don't know anything, and still I do that. I started like that, and every painting I think, I don't know. I told them also, like, I don't know you, and I have not. I decided not to talk to anybody about this, because then I'll be painting their thoughts. And my guru, who has told me, like, when I call him as a guru, he always said that, he's like, I just wanted to tell that, he said that behind every man there's a woman. So I used to tell him, is it really like that? Then he said, it is actually in man, people change it in a different way. The thought is in man, there's a woman, as you said. And he used to joke and say that, when you really think that if there's a woman behind every man, just tell me who is behind her. Then I used to think, who is behind? It will be his wife. So he used to tell this as a joke, and he said the realization is behind it is within man, there's a woman. But he never said that, there is a man in a woman also, so I always worked, I keep telling that, I worked in industries like mining, alcohol, and like I did a lot of things which my mother was very worried about, because she brought me up in such a way, even I was never left to college alone. And suddenly I am doing things which even she used to ask me what I will tell if somebody asks me what business you are doing. And I went into all such spaces which my parents would not have actually allowed me to do, film and things like that. So I always thought I'm more of a masculine, I'm like a masculine person. And I had that, they also said, you're more like a man than a girl. And I was brought up like a typical girl, my mother didn't allow even to wear a salwar kameez when I was young. It is sari, half sari, still I complained to her for that. So when I started, before this, when I wanted to paint Trivara Sundari, I said, I don't know her. How will I paint her? I feel I am more of a man. And my own femininity I am not in touch with, so that to respect that yes, both are available, the thought came, I should paint. I wanted to respect my Shiva, that thing I started on. And I don't know why I started. Today when I see back, there is a reason why I did that and why I did my next painting. So till now I keep telling that, I have to keep telling myself that I am an unpad gawar, because if you feel that you know something, they don't come to you. You have to keep your canvas vacant at every point, and every canvas to me was vacant. Like everybody said, like when you start painting, they don't leave you, because you become an upasaka for them. So then why that canvas, next canvas is coming and I'm able to paint next goddesses. Then somebody said, no, there is a Kali in you. I said, oh my God, Kali and all I cannot manage. How will you make them happy? I was very worried about it. So I spoke to somebody, that man is Malaysia, he's from Malaysia also. I met him in one of my journey to these temples. So he told me, no Beena, I brought 2 books last time for you. One was about Kali and one was about Bala. And I never knew the name Bala. And I said, why? They said, no, you read that book. I said, that was in Sanskrit. I don't know to read Sanskrit. So I kept it inside my almara. So I took that, and when I saw her face, and I was so happy about it, and I embodied her so much. From that day onwards, as you asked me how many days you take, 1 month. Unni used to ask me, you are doing a machine factory or what? Every day one painting. That is the speed it has come when I realized it is she. It is not me, it is she. So, but this me and she, every day I need to do that practice. When I told somebody in Basin with West, I told her, I said like this, she, I said, he took my finger and pointed inside. He said, after 64 yoginis, can't you say she? There also you feel so bad to say that she is in me, it is me. So that is a really daily conflict and daily practice which I do every day, that like a blank canvas. Before starting this painting exhibition, 2 days before, I told Abhi and Saki, my left and right, you can say, or reflection of mine, they also embodied my energy to do this project as theirs. I told I'm disconnecting myself today. I'll get praises, people will come talk. I have not done it. I'm just leaving myself. So I leave myself outside and I come and as a blank body, to take all these blessings. I don't know what karma I must have done. I don't remember any good karma which very precisely say about this janma, but must be 100%. I've been blessed. Last janma I must have done something to embody this. And as you said Ardhanari. At the end of the journey, I realized my journey was to know the Ardhanaran in me. It was not Ardhanari, because I was very feminine, and the powers which displayed, which allowed me to climb mountains, was her. What I had to realize was the masculinity, So when we were calling people for this exhibition, I realized that we are part of women organization. I realized everybody is a man. I said, where is all these men went? Then now I called my friend and said, please call. He said, ma'am, Beena, I have sent you an invitation to our women group. I said, I don't want men. I want men to come and attend. To say that, as you said, motherhood, it's a very rightly said. When my children, because Unni helps me a lot at home. As children, my children went to the school, they were, they'll ask, mother washes the clothes. So my son got up and said, no, my father washes the clothes. To be a mother, you say that motherhood is not there in men. When they want to do a project, they put so much of passion, they protect it so much. Actually, they are not realizing they are embodying a feminine energy of motherhood, into that. So that is what I want to spread to people. I don't want to tell about femininity. I want to talk about the one, the symbol which has come as one. The logo is not designed by me. Logo is designed by her. I wanted to make a red dot, and first I did it in white. And when I copied that, the whole thing into a black, that symbol came. Everybody is asking, so well designed. This both is there, Shiva and Shakti. I said, I didn't do. Shiva reminded me is there. So it's a reminder on to everybody. Today femininity is looked at in a very different way. On dresses, you wear pants and shirts, you feel because you have become masculine. No, that embodying both the energy. My journey is only for that. It talk about Yogini's power, saying that and to embody that masculinity and to know how much to use what. When I went for this inauguration for our book launch, I said it is holding like a credit card, unlimited credit card or HSBC, they were talking about, because when you know you have, you will use it. First is realization of that power which we embody, whether it's motherhood. That's why every goddess, instead of writing the religious part of it, I wanted to write about the energy they hold, or the energy which I felt, which they can realize this is also an energy. And thank you so much, and thank you so much for being here. And it's not. It's more about sharing. It's more about. And for me, Bhavani brought me to there, and I met Bhavani there, and I get symbols like that. Okay, this is where you are supposed to go. So thank you so much. Thank you. And the question of Matangi. When I started painting Matangi, instead of the feminine, more of masculine was. I said, why this masculinity? Because then the book which I referred for the names was Hirapur god, temples. In Hirapur he had a mush. So I felt because the idols are not very clear. So I said, why mush and Matangi? Then I said, okay, it is coming to my mind, then there's no question asked. I just made it like that, and then later when I read, I understood with her there is so much of Shiva connected with Matangi. It's from the sweat, it is said, it is different stories around. So that Shiva was trying to say that I am there, in this very, and I felt she's, and I had a parrot which is coming to my house during that time. Parrot, and I'll paint, she will walk from here till I have videos, she will walk from here and here, up and down. Throughout the painting she will say, whole, like I think must be 15-20 paintings we had that. And one day she just said, like as you said, it was telling you the energy. She was up and down, walking, sitting on my palette, and looking at the colors. So from the first day onwards, I had till 15 paintings or 20 paintings, the presence of her. So for me, it was her presence. Then later, at that time, you don't realize. At later stages, when you look and when you hear something, oh my God, it was she who has been coming and guiding me along. So yeah, that is how Matangi has come. Thank you so much. But I still don't know her. yet to learn every
The moment you
day.
realize you don't know her
Yeah.
yet, is
Yes.
the moment that you are actually ready to receive.
Yes,
Like
I
keep
know.
replenishing
You have to
it.
keep. I keep telling everybody, keep grounding, keep put the energy. You just become just a vessel, a hollow vessel, not even a vessel which contains, allowing it to go down. Then you keep receiving. And when you say slokas, I cannot learn. I have so many people I've asked, why am I not able to remember things? I cannot even read the sloka. I don't remember. It just goes off. It is. I must be. I'm not holding them. I just leave it for more energy to come in, ready to take more energy. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Actually, I have a quick question, which I've been thinking for a few days as we were coming into this circle of 64. I want to know how the circle of 64 correlates with the Dasha Mahavidyas. What is the, ask, yeah. Beena, are you going to answer that? How do the 64 yoginis correlate with the Dasha Mahavidyas?
They're all energies and their groups made according to me. I know ways to talk about it, but there are Mahavidyas in this also. Yeah, and there are Mahavidyas in this.
If you give it to me, everybody will be worried.
And there are Mahavidyas I felt like Ashram Durga, Mahavidya. Like there are different goddesses that Vidya Devi. Responsible, like it's like I will take it in a very different technically term. Like you have a huge 30 women or 100 women, we make 10 people responsible for some, and then 7 people responsible for them. No, this 10 can be part of that 7, 7 can be part of 10. This is what I've understood and given a responsibility, but I really don't know more than this. For me, they're all yoginis. All come under that,
It's a view, to go back to it, it's all different manifestations
Krishna is
of the one.
one. Yes.
So, like I said, Mahasamushakti Kodi Yogi, it's 576 crore. How do you even learn about the manifestation?
Yeah.
So it comes down to make it more accessible to people to Samushakti Kodi Yogi. And this becomes Samushakti. And from there you can bring it up to 8. It's like how the mill was set up. The base is so big. And finally it all comes back to that one Hindu, which is Mahamaya. It's not there.
And after finishing this, Vivek Debroy, he wanted me to make Bhairava. And I am keeping the canvas for me and young, because I made a very young Bhairava.
Yeah.
And I was thinking how I was not able to do a Bhairava. And I told next time, I said, sir, I have a question here. He said, what? I said, For me, Bhairava is coming like a very old man. He said, painted. Whatever is coming, I said, why? Because in your mind, it's not like that. So then, Kashika, Puradinada, Akala Bhairavam, Bhaji, I just recited and painted 7 8 days. My God, that Bhairava is something. I had to go and hand it over to him because I cannot hold that energy. It has become so powerful with him, and it was part of their life now. And it is, and he had all the very, very sharp eyes. And so I realized the Bhairava which I painted, because that I wanted very, very soft, to be with me.
Accessible.
And I want, they brought them. Thank you so much.